Greetings, folks. I am somebody with a mind and a mouth, and in these videos we talk about the nature of the times, and I do cover quite a bit in a short amount of time, so I think I might start chaptering these videos. We've got Mercury stationing retrograde, an ongoing Mars retrograde, and a new moon coming up in the sign of Libra. So let's waste no time, jump right in. These are weeks of shift. This last week we saw retrograde Mars squaring Pluto. This is indicating and highlighting a particular point in time where this shift is likely. A turning of the fulcrum point has either just tilted or is tilting. Now, this is not necessarily conclusive, these change of directions, these new desires, these new identities. There will be more of a conclusive, defined direction when Mars does station direct mid-November. So this next month, when Mars stations direct, November is more the month of suiting up, And I would say these weeks, Mars retro square to Pluto is the raw transmutative process. This is when things get really heated up in order to melt down and change those raw materials, to change the materials that we're working with. So this can be an intense time. It can be claustrophobic, highly reactive. We talked about adrenals and adrenal fatigue in the last video, and we've been covering Mars retrograde the last couple of videos, so you can check those out to get more into these dynamics. But absolutely, we can feel this in our gut. We can feel this tension, and it's a creative tension. There is, again, a transformation through this intensity. What needs to get let go of is getting pushed out to make room for the new. Now, Mars square to Pluto, this is, again, where there can be a turning point. Pluto represents our core evolutionary desires. Mars, how we instinctively act upon them. So this Mars square to Pluto is when we're really transforming and we're aligning with our core evolutionary desires. This is our journey. This is the purpose of life. Everything is in the service of our soul's evolution and inevitably our own spiritual development. Mars is our own unique nature. We're all unique souls. Every soul is unique. Every individual, every body, every sexual orientation is unique. And this is what we're exploring. Liberating our freedom to act and live within our nature. And at the same time, we are not free to simply choose. We have to accept our nature. And the more that we suppress our nature, for example, our bodies or our own natural sexuality, we also can suppress or deny our own soul's evolutionary desires, which are reflected through the creation of such an individual nature, body programming, which we are here to embody. We are here to explore, discover, and embody. So the more that we suppress our own individual nature, the more that we suffer. And eventually there can be a volcanic explosion, whatever we've denied or suppressed in the past. So this whole Mars retrograde period in Aries, which is ongoing from September through November, is a breaking free of what is, or a breaking free from what is unnatural or limiting to our raw, authentic nature, governing ourselves from our own highest point of integrity. Only we know our soul, truthfully. We are alone in this reality. Only we know what our true work is, and only we can do the work that is our work to do. Now, this is where astrology can come in as a tremendously useful and healing magic. And by the way, the reflection of our soul's truth is found in nature. Astrology is a natural confirmation of our purpose for being here and why we are given what we are given. This is not, therefore, New Age clickbait, create your own reality bullshit. This is a means to understand your nature and then become it. You see, real liberation is not the freedom to choose every single detail of your life and world, as if that were possible. But by being situated authentically within ourselves, so to be empowered, so to be at the helm of the ship, at the helm of our own given nature. So to come into the world empowered and yet not being bewildered by the world or the diversity of other people, differing natures, differing paths, differing past experiences, and differing opinions. This Mars retrograde is about discovering and liberating our unique individual nature. Now we do have a new moon around the corner coming up this Friday in the sign of Libra, and this new moon is trine to the moon's north node in Gemini. So this is a time period we'll talk about how there is an opening up into new people, new perspectives, and a diversity can come through this reflection of a diversity of different people. Mercury just moved into Scorpio at the end of September, and tomorrow, October 13th, is stationing retrograde at 11 degrees of Scorpio, conjoined asteroid Juno and opposite to Uranus. Now, Mercury stationing retrograde in Scorpio is asking the question, what's really going on? No, but really, what's going on beneath the surface? What really matters? Mercury in Scorpio is the detective, and Mercury opposite to Uranus is exposure. Mercury in Scorpio is sharp, penetrative mind, sharp spoken tongue. Okay. And Mercury in Scorpio being detective is again looking behind the scenes, beneath the surface. Mercury in Scorpio is real talk. It's a time of exposure, disclosure, skeletons coming out of the closet. Again, what's been previously suppressed. It's now the time to lay it out on the table. It's time to get it all out. Okay. Mercury stations retrograde also in a trine to Neptune in Pisces, this type of releasing and purging from our own deeper psyche, our unconscious, can also come through our dreams, the symbols of those dreams, the feelings of those dreams, as well as the unconscious push and pull, attraction and repulsion that we can be experiencing around particular people, particular symbols. Okay. So again, real talk. It's time to get it out. Revelation of the unconscious magnetic dynamics which controls our life. This is what's behind the scenes. It's Scorpio. It's unconscious dynamics. This is what controls all of our lives. And this can therefore have to deal with power dynamics. What pushes and pulls us? Who's really in control? What's really in control? What dominates our thinking? Scorpio can be obsessions, phobias, fears, sexual fetishes, and it begs the question, why? It leads us into a deeper and deeper exploration of our psyche, which goes deeper in ourselves, deeper in our past, and deeper to our authentic core. Scorpio is our soul. All of our past lifetime experience is said to be alive in the present moment, though unconscious. And while those unconscious dynamics remain hidden and beneath the surface, we are all like a marionette getting pushed and pulled by various strings. And yet Uranus opposite to this Mercury can shine a light on the darkness. From seeing from a higher vantage point, more objectively, we can get a glimpse at what these power dynamics are, at what is pushing and pulling us. What people and what symbols represent our power has so much to do with the particular magnetic attractions and repulsions that we have. These particular people in our lives, do they empower us or do they take our power away? Or rather, do we give our power away through a projection of our own power onto some person or some symbol that metaphorically represents that power in ourself that is being unacknowledged, ignored, denied, or suppressed? So, again, we unconsciously seek evolution, empowerment, spiritual development, and transformation, largely through these unconscious magnetic attractions and repulsions. There are good reason why we have the magnetic attractions and repulsions that we do. One particular way that we do this is through being drawn to particular individuals. Scorpio is intimacy. It is through intimacy, one person's field coming into a contact with another person's field, fusing with another person's field. Scorpio is alchemical fusion as well as sexual fusion. And also, we can bump up against another person's field, can we not? We create a friction between one person's unseen blind spots and another person's unseen blind spots. And that friction wakes us up to each other's blind spots. And now we have a wonderful opportunity for us to discuss these things, for us to communicate, get it out on the table, to be vulnerable, to be honest. Because even though this involves a necessary degree of conflict, confrontation. Conflict and confrontation in no way, shape, or form is negative. This is one of the over-assumed prejudices against Scorpio is, oh, we don't want conflict, oh, we don't want to stir the pot, oh, that makes things messy, oh, that makes things chaotic. So is life, so is reality. This dissociative, denying, ignoring, escaping the deeper reality, the necessary confrontation, the necessary intimacy, is a way of falling asleep to our greater life and purpose for living. So yeah, things get messy, things get complex, and they should necessarily, if we have the hope and the aspiration to learn and grow at all. So there's a reason why we have the attraction to the particular people that we do. And this can be an investigation. Mercury stationing retrograde opposite to Uranus can be this disclosure, this revelation, this eureka, this sudden missing links come into a visible, sight and understanding. So this is taking place, but this is also just beginning this investigation. For example, this would be like, hey, some story with our ex comes out and it opens up, Pandora's box of all these different possibilities, or, out there in the world of politics, highly political period, it's like, uh-oh, somebody's getting in trouble because they were lying, and now all of this is getting exposed, and it's going to lead to a whole revelation. It's like layer after layer after layer can come out of these necessary confrontations, these necessary conversations, and this is a time to go deep. This is a time to be intimate, and it's a time that we can learn and grow so productively coming out of these conversations and these necessary interactions. Mercury stationing retrograde on asteroid Juno is the partnership asteroid. Really brings up this investigation in terms of how we are transforming through connection. This is again very much bringing up a dynamic of relationship, intimacy, and connection, which will be an ongoing theme through November. Okay. So Mercury station retrograde on partnership asteroid Juno can be real talk with our significant other. What do we really want out of us? What is our mutual purpose? What do we desire in partnership? What does our soul desire to merge with in ourselves that's being reflected through this desire to connect with another person? This can give a purpose or a meaning for our interactions, for even our intimate relationships, our partnerships. Now again, the Mercury opposition to Uranus brings the light of a higher vantage point, sudden realization, eureka moments. This can also be the disclosure, the revelation, or the aha that leads to a perspective shift. Okay, again, this is like a missing link opening to this investigation. This can bring a new level of mental clarity leading to new questions and new directions. Exposure of a deeper reality, ulterior motives. We have these ulterior motives in ourselves as well. Oh, wow, I really need this thing, and is that really why? Oh, I need to do it this way, and why do you need that? And why does it have to be that way? So again, this is like, we're the detective to our own soul at this time. Hey, what's really going on beneath the surface? Again, this can be sexual dynamics, power dynamics, and we can't leave out the dynamic of money. Money. Where's the money? Where's the money going? Do we have the money? And of course, all the power dynamics that can be involved with the exchange of energy, money, and resources. Uranus being in the sign of Taurus does have a lot to do with the economic situation as well. And out there in the global political world, we're going to see a lot of a lot of interesting things about the managing of power and money out there in the world by and large. Okay, so this is also exposing a greater level of depth and complexity, which again is reality. Reality is not this overly simplistic black and white, there's heroes and demons that we've been taught through our Disney films that we grow up watching, that we've been taught through our mainstream religions that are almost on par with the Disney films we've grown up watching. So it's not that simple. And we have to be aware of this when it comes to the murky, complex, emotional areas that we're entering into. It's not good guys, bad guys, people trying to hurt other people. There is some of that, but that's not usually real life, right? There are, again, these ulterior motives, why people are driven to do the things that they do, even if it is complicated, mysterious, messy. There are reasons for everything. And so this is a time, again, to expose, to get into this realness, this complexity, even if it is a little messy. This gives us the materials that we're working with to really get deeper, to really get more connected and established with those people that we're on a similar page with, like minds, a similar wavelength, so that way we can really connect. And this soul journey does not have to be one that we're doing all on our own. We'll talk about this new moon in Libra being opposite to Mars in Aries, brings up this dichotomy between self and other. We have to be liberated as our unique individual. We cannot just join the ranks of others or suppress our own nature or avoid our own deeper desires or needs in order to get connection. So there's this necessary liberation of our own individuality, and we can't go this all out on our own either, right? We do need the mirror of relationship. We all have blind spots. We all have limited energy, talents, and traits. We have to learn to function together as a species, as a whole, as a group, as a movement. That's really, really going to begin this new phase, this new direction of how do we interconnect, this new moon in Libra, trying to the moon's north node in Gemini. And this is going to take us through 2021. It's networking, it's movements, it's humanitarian progressive revolutions. But this first liberating our own uniqueness, what we need, we can no longer be stepped on, we can no longer be suppressed by our world, by our peers, by our authorities, and we're building something new together. It's all this like raw, raking up storm of transformation right now that's transforming how we've done it in the past to open these brand new possibilities and directions into the future. This is where we stand in time. This is why it's not necessarily comfortable or slow or peaceful right now. It's like, gears on gears, transformation of fundamental tectonic plates, creating whole new continents. That's where we are energetically and on the deeper soul level. So be at peace that this is not a forever period. Be graceful, gracious on yourself, and take it all with a grain of salt. This is all about experimentation. When we're hammering things into a new form, it's not necessarily procedural, detailed. That comes after, when we refine things down and we get into the little details. Right now, it's like, bend it this way. Oh, that's not the right way. Bend it this way. Okay, now we're getting there. That's kind of what we're talking about right now. And we're really breaking in a fundamental new way of being empowered in our own integrity, in our own authentic nature and self-expression. Now, Mercury will come into a superior conjunction with the Sun, October 25th, 2 degrees Scorpio. So this is going to lead into these new mental frameworks, new approaches. That's what we're forming. And where Mercury will station direct November 3rd, 25 degrees Libra, is where we have our new moon this Friday the 16th, 23 degrees Libra. So there's a similar theme, again, going on this next month. This next moon cycle takes us to November 15th. The next new moon in Scorpio is joined asteroid Juno, the partnership asteroid. So again, connection, intimacy, collaboration, relationship will be a theme through November. So we have this theme being introduced now. People, relationship, connection, partnership, and how we can all get along in this quickly changing world. And we're all restructuring, It's like coronavirus has, for example, all affected us. We've all got to get back on our game. And again, getting back on our horse, and then, hey, where's the tribe? Where's the others now? Where can we circle up? Both Mercury station direct and this new moon in Libra are squaring Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter. Again, trine to the moon's north node. I think I'll do a separate video on that moon's north node in Gemini coming up these next few weeks or next few months, because this theme is just going to really start to come to the surface and take us through 2021. Okay, so we're being introduced to new faces, new conversations. It's a highly talkative and a highly political period, especially when we get into November. Now, what we are exploring and learning, Libra squared to Capricorn, is how to function within new structures in relationship. How to make it work. Is everybody getting along? Libra seeks justice, seeks balance, seeks harmony. There are win-win solutions. Okay, that's what we're seeking. And again, this opposition to Mars in Aries is this dichotomy between self and other. We cannot just cheat ourselves, so that way we take care of everybody else, or make sure that we're taken care of, oh, we got ours, and cheating everybody else. It really does seem that there are two types of people when it comes to these dynamics. So in whatever way, we're seeking balance. We got to listen to others. Or Mars and Aries, we got to stand up for ourselves. And you know who you are. You know your propensities. This Mercury in Scorpio, it's crystal clear. We're getting the triggers. We're getting the reflections. Almost on like an unconscious, reactive, animalistic behavior way. It's like these are the ruts. This is the grooves that I've fallen into. So again, we are working to create these new perspectives, these new approaches to how we're exchanging ourselves with others. Really transforming these materials at hand. Okay. There are necessary new ideas, Mercury retro, thought forms and systems required for these new forming relationships. Okay. New interests and new directions. The question is, how do we get these to work? There are, as we all know very well by now, societal pressures, bureaucratic expectations, obligations, challenges, and hurdles to overcome. The real world, tests and challenges. Testing and forcing this new development. It's we can't do things the old way. Something's got to change type of reality in which we live these days. This gravity from the past, again, this real world challenge, this bureaucratic challenge is also the conditioning that we've received and have been limited by. This is what a good girl, a good boy is supposed to do. This is what success looks like. This is how much money you should have in your bank account, etc., etc., etc. The instructions we've received from authorities, the crushing gravity of the norm, the status quo, traditionalism. Well, Saturn is now direct, Pluto is now direct in new phase. It's all about building the new from here. We must resist the gravity to settle. This new moon in Mercury, when he stations direct, first week in November, square to Saturn, Pluto, begs the question how to do this and with who. This again can particularly find itself beginning to assimilate and find more concrete direction and footing in November between Mercury and Mars stationing direct. So take this time to get into the stuff. We don't want to have it all figured out right now prematurely, because that's where this teeter-totter settles. It's either self or other. It's either conforming or being completely abandoned in our own isolated universe. So we have to ride the seesaw back and forth, do the evolutionary mechanism of finding balance and forming a bridge between these dynamic oppositions in our life. This is all this tension that we're experiencing, right? Tension wakes us up to where there's conflicting and contrasting dynamics in our life. And we have to experience that tension to see where that contrast or where that difference is occurring. And that's where we zoom in, Mercury and Scorpio, zoom into that point of intensity, because that's where the transformation can occur. That's where we can bring in new perspectives that changes everything. Bring in these new vantage points where we see new possibilities. That's what Uranus can bring to us right now. Uranus introduces new dimensional possibilities. from seeing from a higher vantage point. I like to give the example of when we sent astronauts into space, into the moon, and suddenly we're taking photographs, Aquarius, Uranus, of the globe from outer space, Aquarius, right? There's this higher vantage point, and from that higher vantage point, we see our whole interconnected globe, our world, in a fundamentally new, different, revolutionary type of way. Now, also coming up this weekend, Venus is opposite to Neptune, and this is encouraging this creative exploration, this opening, not needing to settle, but rather this opening of our hearts, this creative exploration, what may be a romanticizing, a search for meaning in the meantime. And we're finding our taste. We're finding our heart's true core values. Opening to what we love in our uniqueness, Mars and Aries, and how we can share that uniqueness with others, Libra. This Venus opposite to Neptune can also reflect back to the end of May time when Venus did station retrograde square to Neptune. So again, there's this exploration of relationship, ideals, dreams, goals, the people that we're connecting and sharing these things with, and how is it going? Mercury retro in Scorpio. Is this really what we want? Are we actually on the same page? Is it all talk or is it reality? Are we simply fantasizing or are we applying the effort? And where we are applying the effort, where our actual desires and actions are occurring, is what shines through. This is what we really want. This is who we really are. This is what we're going to do, and we can't deny that. To try to fit somebody else's expectations or to be nice or tasteful or polite for somebody else. This is, again, the work. This is the transformation. Okay. Venus is in her own sign of Libra from the end of this month, October 27th, through November 21st. So this is the good news, is again, we're entering into this time where there can be an increased commingling. And of course, 2020 is introducing this global theme of isolation as we're having nations and peoples divided and sheltered due to the coronavirus. But this is also, again, inspiring these new means of connecting, networking, and sharing ourselves with others. This is the evolutionary work, collectively. And it's not like a, work. It's work. It's magical work. It gets easier as it goes on. We become more embodied in our actual nature, which means we have more passion, more energy, which is easy and effortless for us when we get into our authentic nature, right? Flute players play the flute. Trombone players play the trombone. Trumpet players play the trumpet. And when we have practiced, worked, studied, to embody our own personal self-expression, nature, and instrument, it becomes effortless. It becomes a part of our voice, a part of our own self-expression. And this is, again, what we get to experiment. We don't have to settle. We're discovering, unearthing, and carving this path for our own consciousness to funnel into our body and for our own self-expression to be spontaneously released from ourself. This is allowing us to see ourselves in different ways, to connect with others in different ways. And now the trumpet players, the flute players, the oboe players can begin to assemble together, to learn to play as a symphony, to learn to create music that is more powerful and more influential than any one artist or musician when they are alone by themselves. So folks, keep your chin up because this has been the second intense wave of this year. The first wave was coronavirus, springtime. The second wave is this fall time, political friction pinch. But we're transforming the materials at hand, we're paying it forward, and we can come out at the other end, go into 2021, riding the stallion, feeling empowered, feeling clear and concrete with who we are and our greater purpose and reason for being on this planet. That way we can feel that connection. Juno in Scorpio wants merging, fusion, intimacy. We can feel that connection. We can trust that connection with others because it reflects and honors our soul's purpose and simultaneously gives us a sense of profound meaning by being connected to something greater than just ourselves.